And we're back!
Ayo,
Episode 15! That means 15 straight weeks of this nonsense. Oh my god, I don't have a hat on?
What are you fucking doing, my guy? Oh my god, they're gonna see your receding hairline.
It ain't tradition if I don't have a hat on.
Oh my god.
Alright, episode 15, we will be joined shortly by our friend Brian Wille. Excuse me for mistaking your name, your last name. Brian Wille, vocalist of metalcore band Currents, will be joining us. I'm stoked on that because Currents is sick. Their new album is sick. It's called The Way It Ends. So make sure you go stream that shit. If you don't have the money to buy it to support the artist, just make sure you stream it all goddamn night while you're asleep.
Yep.
So this wouldn't be I Hate the Scene if we didn't crack open this episode with a Tekashi 6ix9ine update.
What is it?
First off, he said he's surprised he's not dead yet. Same, my man. Same. He's also hiring a 22-person security team comprised of all former law enforcement officers. Apparently, blue lives do matter.
At least to Tekashi, they do.
Yeah. I've been sharing the post with that news update saying, oh, you want to be safe. Because, 22
That's
people?
Extra safe.
Damn.
I mean, potentially for the rest of his life, right? Which is crazy to think about. 26 years old, maybe he's already rolling around with private security for the rest of your life, my guy.
It's warranted.
It's heavy.
I mean, you snitched on people that have, criminal ties and gang ties.
Yep. Yeah.
So
high level people potentially,
I forgot who it was, but they said if he ain't dead now, then he's never gonna get shot. So hopefully that's true. I don't wish that kind of ill will on anyone. Unless you're a COVID denier, then I wish ill will on you. Sorry. Biggest news story in music this week, coming out of the world of hip-hop. Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. What the fuck?
I mean, it was at least at her feet. And so it wasn't attempted murder. We know that. Maybe he has a soft spot for her. I don't know. I first read the headline that she had just gotten shot and she was recovering from gunshot wounds, is what I heard. And then to come to find out it was Tory Lanez as she was leaving his car, all of some Chris Brown Rihanna story, which is like, what the fuck is that? Okay, I guess. And then you're like, at her feet, he shot at her? What? As she was leaving? Huh?
The first story that came out was that Tory Lanez was arrested on gun charges. It came out shortly after that Megan Thee Stallion was in the car with him. It took a little while, and then it came out further that Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion as she was leaving the car because of an argument they were having. This is being investigated, as Brian said, as assault with a deadly weapon instead of attempted murder, which is a big difference as far as prison sentences. So this does imply right now, at least, that it could be accidental, or the fact that he shot her below the waist is why he's not getting attempted murder. I just think it's odd, and it's also really fucked up too because you shot her in her feet. There's not a lot of room in your foot for a bullet to go into, so if you shot her in the foot and this girl now has to walk with a limp for the rest of her life, that's disgusting. The whole act is disgusting, but I really hope she doesn't have long-term pain from this. She released a quote and said, I am real life hurt and traumatized. Of course you would be. This is awful.
No shit, you got shot, girl. Of course you're going to be hurt and traumatized. And you got shot by supposedly your friend. I think they were dating, right? That was their romantic partnership, whatever it was. Listen, I wasn't trying to defend.
She's been connected with a bunch of different rappers. I'm trying to think of the one because he's always acting ghetto like you don't want her.
I was not trying to defend Tory Lanez whatsoever as we were opening this up. I hope that's not what it sounded like. Listen, my guy, you pulled a gun out and you shot at her. That's fucking completely uncalled for. For no reason is that ever justifiable in my mind. You talk about different levels of abuse and violence between friends, domestic violence like this, especially in this climate. We've mentioned a couple things now where the climate isn't the same as it used to be, and this kind of shit. When I first heard that she was recovering, I'm like, okay, this is probably she's outside of a club type of incident like we see happen a lot of times, right? No, it's a friend shooting at her. She leaves a car. It's fucking completely uncalled for. Bananas, dude. What are you thinking? How it can be perceived as an accident is a whole nother argument because you pulled a gun out and fired it at somebody as they were walking away from you.
Yes, I am simping for Megan Thee Stallion. She's gorgeous and I love her. She also makes good music. So I just want to rewind to a time when attractive women didn't make good rap music, because that definitely existed. Now we have so many female rappers that are not only attractive but are killing the game. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Snow the Product, Doja Cat, Rico Nas. It's everyone, dude. There was a time when, long story short, I used to work in FM radio. And I worked with a DJ who was also a female rapper. She said she met with Lupe Fiasco's manager at the time, and he told her, I could sign you right now, but it ain't going to do us any good. And she's like, why? And they said, because female rappers are temporary. You drop an album, you promote it, you maybe appear on 106 in Park, some TRL. I'm talking like mid-2000s, mind you. And then you're done. You know, your album cycle, your touring cycle's over. No one goes and puts more effort into you after that. So the fact that there is a Nicki Minaj, a Cardi B, a Megan Thee Stallion, a Snow the Product, and that they exist 24/7, full time, pumping out songs and material, and they're featured, means a lot. We have come a long way in 10 years, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately,
maybe 15.
Unfortunately, a lot of the female rap game back in the day was very sexualized, right? And almost, a lot of their music was always having some sort of feature from a male artist, and right, there was always
I'm looking at you, Foxy Brown.
There was always normally a link and always normally some sort of like ties between artists and relationships and who was featured and who wasn't and who was banging and who wasn't. And like nowadays, women are making a completely different type of statement. They're making a completely different type of impact on the music scene. And you're seeing incidents like this between high profile celebrities, mind you, high profile artists and high profile celebrities. That, you're on a pedestal. And we've talked about this ad nauseum several times. When you're on a pedestal, you're expected to behave a certain way, regardless of what kind of music and what kind of whatever. You have to like understand levels and lines and boundaries. And my guy shooting at somebody is not one of them, regardless of what was going on, regardless, like what? Huh? Matt, I'm just like going to pull my gun out on you, and we had that moment when you showed up, right? And I was like, hey, I got my gun. I want to go pull it out and like show Matt, but I'm like, nope, I have to be that responsible gun owner. Like mine turns on and like, no, that wouldn't be responsible. That wouldn't be a good example of responsible ownership. And you're out here brandishing at people that just want to walk away from you. Come on. That's a stunt move too. That's a power play move that people do.
Yo, shouts to you for not pointing a loaded gun at me, because
never loaded. Never loaded, sir. There's a line. Never loaded.
That's what my buddy Justin Case would have done. Shouts to him, Cooter Britches, because
hey,
he loved
Cooter
to point a loaded
Britches.
gun at me.
It's gonna be poo poo britches after he fucking does that.
Dude, he would wait until I was like high or drunk and like real vulnerable, and then he'd just start messing with me and shoving the gun all up in my face and shit. And I'm like, that like one day you're gonna slip up and pull the trigger, and then like I'm gonna be dead. I'm not gonna have to do the explaining. You're gonna have to explain to my mom why you shot me in the face.
Shout out Justin Case. Thank you for not blowing my buddy's head off, and but let's be real. Like that it is done in times where it's like, hey, people may do that as a sign of like trying to show, whatever, like, trying to show superiority in a situation. Not saying this is your friend. He was just drunk. Yeah, hey, and then,
he was just drunk playing with a loaded firearm. No big deal.
In situations like Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, it's used as like a, hey, bitch, I said you couldn't leave. Get back here. Yeah, I said bitch. 2020. I brandish guns. I brandish guns. I say bitch. Not that was Tory Lanez quote. I don't have Tory Lanez quote immediately in front of me, but I can only imagine that he said something of that such. Come here, bitch. Hey, can we play a game? Things Tory Lanez said is. Making the
oh my god!
Exiting the vehicle. Go. Bitch, get back here. Do you think he said? No. Do you think he formulated "get back here"? Bitch, get back here. You think he said that? Brutal. I'm talking to you, bitch.
Okay, so I have just got word from our guest Brian Wille. He says internet is acting up over here, trying to work out a fix. So,
hey man, no pressure.
No, there's pressure. We will be joined shortly by Brian Wille, not Wills, as I incorrectly said earlier. Brian Wille, the vocalist of metalcore band Currents. Shouts to them. The Way It Ends in stores now. Go pick it up, stream it, buy a flag, buy a t-shirt, do all that cool shit. Yo, metalcore bands with flags. That's like a new trend. I dig it.
There it used okay, so if we can we'll talk, this is going to age us a little bit, but back in our day, there was banners. Bands had banners, and we if you got to like festivals like Taste of Chaos, Warped Tour, if you got to those types of festivals early, you got to fucking steal them because they'd put them up in front of bleachers, they'd put them up around barricades, they'd put them up places, and you just go in, snip snip, you can take yourself a poster. Josh, shout out to fucking J-Lo, JC Low on Instagram. Check him out. He does photography. He's got some fucking beautiful family. Check him out. He's phenomenal. Also a responsible gun owner. And anyways, he is fucking just got probably in my mind the best band memorabilia on the entire planet. And it's a fucking Visu banner that we got from the 2007 Taste of Chaos. And he fucking yanked it super early. And then we were also able to get some Deftones mini ones. And that was a fucking show. Deftones and Thrice. Get at me, son. You want to talk about the Deftones show?
Hold on, time out. This is like the 70th thrice mention on this fucking show.
Every week. It's my fucking inside little Easter egg. You want to talk about a fucking Deftones show with Thrice, son.
Hold on. Dude, he did it again. He fucking mentioned Thrice. Did it again. Like, I don't get paid for these Thrice mentions. Like, they're not even paying for advertisement. They haven't had a new album in like 15 years. I don't know, dude. Like, it was slim pickings for a co-host. Like, what do you want from me?
Palms, most recent Thrice album came out 2019, I believe.
I don't know.
Maybe 2017.
All right.
That was one of two people.
I didn't put this on mute? Oh.
That was one of two people.
That was one of two people?
Yeah. And I know who both of them are, and I'm not worried about it.
I know who one of them would be. Who would the second one be?
No, can't mention people.
Okay,
can't. No. Come on.
Fuck me, right? Hold on, I'm giving the vocalist for Currents my number.
Yeah, man.
Let's just make shit easier. Dude,
shouts to anyone who doesn't remember
their phone number.
Hey guys, in the chat, whoever's in the chat, guys and gals, whoever's hanging out with us, waiting for this to get rolling, who is some of your favorite 90s R&B rapper, hip hop artists, just in general. It doesn't have to be male or female. Let's hear some of them while we're waiting for...
Throwback joints is what you want.
Throwback joints. I mean, I don't want to sound too fucking millennial.
You know
throwbacks. Give me your throwbacks.
One of the most distinct things I've noticed about early 2000s hip hop is if you listen to a rapper.
Pay attention.
Oh yeah, big time, bro. I'm a huge Dipset fan, and their heyday is like in the early 2000s. So I go and listen to that shit.
Yes, you are.
If you go back and listen to those records, like even Jim Jones and a lot of East Coast rappers from New York between 2000 and 2004, they love to use that homophobic slur that starts with an F. I'm not going to say it because I'm not down with that.
Yeah, they did. God,
funny.
Okay,
time out. Vinny Esmeralda just shouted out Frankie J.
I don't know who that is.
Dude, if that... I hope that's not the person I'm thinking of. I'm about to look him up.
What? Who?
I think it's a Hispanic R&B artist.
Oh no.
Frankie J.
Frankie J, what up? Shout out to Frankie J.
Yes, okay, so he is definitely Hispanic because the top song is from Playing Skills featuring Frankie J. Si una vez.
Si una vez.
Oh my God. He's on that Baby Bash song, Sugar Sugar. Sugar, sugar, how'd you get so fly?
Ew, gross. That song is the worst. Sugar, how you get so fly? Ew.
Oh, yeah, dude, that... Okay, shouts...
Sorry, I'm hating. I'm hating right now. I'm coming in hot.
Yeah, shouts... Shouts to Baby Bash, because... Dude, I used to hate on him because, like, he seemed, like, generic to me, but then I copped one of his albums, and it had, like, guest features with Akon and Avant and, like, a bunch of decent rappers and shit. It was good. Baby Bash has skills.
Shout out Becca Mainly jumping in this chat, getting in here.
Shout out Becca Mainly.
Becca Mainly getting in here with Tired Girls Club. Fucking
Vinny Esmeralda, if you like Frankie J, I'm going to have to recommend Stevie B. Because it's like the same fucking name, and they probably do the same shit.
Okay, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's a dumb game. I don't like it.
It is really dumb. I'm trying to think, is Stevie B Hispanic? I think he's Dominican or something. He's got some joints, though, and chances are your aunt loves them.
Hit us up in the chat with your favorite Pitbull song. Get it.
Oh,
don't.
God.
Please don't. Please don't. Oh, no. Yo. What's up? So, are we just moving on to the next segment?
I don't know. I'm getting blown up about all these audio issues.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so
Next
screw
week,
that
we're
game.
good.
That game is terrible. Next news update would be that
White
rapper
pe-
Logic announced he's retiring.
True.
Good. Fucking good. You bore me. Moving on.
Wow. Okay. Whoa, dang.
Logic had one good album, man. Let's face it, okay? It's tough for a white rapper. It's even tougher if you're half white and half black because I don't know if the half white part's coming out. But he
No
had
offense
like
to no offense to Logic.
white people.
No offense to Logic and or white people, which is Logic's white half. Get it?
If we apologize to white people, are we racist?
I
We're
take
racist, right?
yes, Matt, we are. I take all these rapper, artists, athlete retirements. I take a little bit more serious unless it's MMA. But hip hop artist retirements, come on, man. We're just gonna see you again. Just say you're taking a break right now from music. That's cool. We get it. We're gonna see you again in 5 years. We're gonna see you again in 8
You're
years.
100% right, Brian, because
You're
his
coming
last
back.
album, this
You're
is
coming
the
back.
shit that I heard. And that's what made me go, okay, if he's done, I'm going to go listen to this. Because remember when Jay-Z retired, he dropped the Black album?
Exactly. Retired.
The Black
there's
album,
always that. Always.
the Black album is a 10 out of 10. It is a flawless classic album. It's amazing. If he had retired on that, it would have been a solid career. But he had to come back and he had to drop that terrible Kingdom Come album. The thing about rappers retiring is when you do return, or maybe just a guest feature to tease them, when you do drop that return album, boom, your sales go up. So this retirement thing, I feel, is a publicity stunt because you can retire at any point. For instance, look at Eminem and Usher. They can drop an album whenever they want. They can then finish their album cycle and disappear out of the spotlight and go back to living their own lives with a ton of money as often as they like, because they're always going to be relevant whether or not the spotlight is on them. And I've always found that super interesting.
They're on a different level, you know. I don't know if anybody here is a fan of like strange music artists, but there's a band from back in the day called Dirty Worms. And I had the privilege of working with Smackola, who's one of the main members of Dirty Worms on a couple different projects. And, one of the best things he told me as an independent artist, in just like the general scheme of things, so your average artist nowadays is you want to get on a cycle. You want like a quarterly cycle or a monthly cycle. You want to do a song release or a single release, then an album, then a tour, then a music video. And you always want to keep something fresh and you always want to keep something going, right? Through artists' careers, you see these different cycles take place, and you see the artists that are able to step away from the touring life and the release life for, 5-10 years because they're riding that generational wealth now. Your Britney Spears, your Backstreet Boys, your Elton Johns, your Stardoms, your fucking high peak. You're only touring once every couple of years because you really genuinely still enjoy playing music, and like, yeah, you maybe need to ride another tour and rake in, another X amount of fucking revenue for the next 10, 15 years, drop another album, right? So I think those artists you mentioned have reached that pinnacle. That's the place that they've reached, and Logic very much so. I think he's got a lot going on. I think he's got a lot of, decent releases and a decent fan base, tours, moments, that he can ride off, I think, into the sunset for a couple of years. We're going to see him. If you're a Logic fan, don't fret. He'll be back. But
Yeah,
it's
I'm
just
just
going to
being
be
a
as
dick.
no, I mean, hey, you're right. But they also don't need to. We don't need to hear a new Usher album every 3 years. We don't need a 3-year Usher album cycle because he's not there. He's not there anymore.
Can you imagine if Usher was dropping an album every 3 years? We'd have the radio airwaves fucking dominated, dude. I couldn't even listen to the shit.
He would be a fucking, like a Pusha. He would be somebody that is just probably stays stagnant, doesn't really hit a stardom, right? That's the allure to a lot of these artists. They only do an album every 5 years, once a decade. Metallica just announced S&M 2, and they released their second video for it. Like, that's a huge thing, but we only see Metallica tour every fucking decade, once a decade, and then they do a festival or two. That's it.
I see
They're fucking done.
Becca mainly suggested MCR.
True.
MCR, I believe, was legitimately broken up. I believe that they were dead and done.
Me and her have been down that rabbit hole too. They definitely were.
When it comes to bands, in contrast to hip hop acts, it is a lot different. If you're MCR, you can break up, you can go and do your own thing, go fucking work at Home Depot and try to have a normal life and shit like that. But eventually, you're going to get called back to the stage because there is such a demand for you and your music that it's a huge cash cow to go have an MCR reunion tour. Oh yeah, big time. People love that shit. To get off the Logic topic, the last time that I listened to Logic and said he was a good rapper, 2014, the Under Pressure album. I really, 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 really enjoyed that, and I haven't felt anything he's released since then.
His
It's all been kind
mixtapes.
of boring to me.
I was a
but-
Tarantino fan, a Bobby Tarantino fan. 1, 2, and 3, all his best works.
So that's
I
a
was a
good
Tarantino
point.
fan.
I had already cashed out by the first Bobby Tarantino release in 2016. It was like whatever. 100% of the MCR demand is from me. No, it is not, Becker Mainly. You do not wear enough eyeliner to make that statement.
You'd be surprised, man.
Nah. In other
MCRCRs
shitty
are
news,
fucking. Yes, go.
in other downright shitty, absolute terrible fucking Trump supporting racist alt right wing fake facts bullshit news, your favorite band Trapped sold over 600 copies of their new album, a whopping 600.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. They were raked over the coals on a couple different websites, Metal Injection and I believe Lamb Goat as well.
Everyone
took their shots at poor Trapped because they sold half of some of the minimal releases from the metalcore scene, which was the scene, the post-hardcore metalcore scene was the scene that they took their stabs at. They thought that they could take their shots at Dan Scavin.
beefing with Dan Scavin real hard, beefing with every Sumerian band in the label itself.
I don't know if you listen to A Day to Remember, but the scene doesn't fuck around. I don't know if you
What's
listen to shit. You'll get
hilarious to
fucked
me-
up. You'll get fucked up, Trap. Come in the
Hold
pit.
up. Gotta do
This ain't a
some,
mosh pit. This is a karate pit, son. We'll kick you.
I gotta do
Sup?
some mid-show research and find out what label Trap is currently signed to.
These nuts.
Okay, so there's not even a Wikipedia page for their new album, which I'm not going to tell you the name, so then you go and like, curious to see how
publicity.
bad it is. Yeah,
No publicity here, Trapped.
Yeah.
There's a fine no
Fuck
Trap
Trap.
publicity line here.
Fuck
that-
their new album.
that I have crossed. Your boys crossed that line, and fucking Matt. Definitely do not email Matt at sceneradio@gmail.com and tell him about how much you love Trapped.
Oh man, that's my actual email and not the one I give out publicly. I'm trying to figure out what label they claim to be on. I don't even know. In this,
Doesn't fucking
Taylor used the band's account to. Oh crap! They blame George Floyd for his own death. Oh my god. Oh god. Like, how racist can you be?
Hey, we're getting to the point. Listen, we're getting to the point to where people will argue that it's okay to say that because, in like some critical theory mindset, George Floyd making the choice to go to that particular quick cash whatever place and deciding to use the $20 bill was his own doing, and by that nature he is in fact responsible for his, like, you're gonna get that type of kickback because it's 2020, Matt, the most complex season of Earth we've ever been involved in, and it's a twist and a turn every single day.
This is the worst season of Earth I've ever watched.
I know,
Amber
and we're
Malmstrom
doing a
says,
fucking winger episode right now. Just so you know, we're halfway into
the
a
band
winger.
Winger? Oh,
Winger.
hell yeah.
No, winger from
Your
Community.
favorite band is Winger?
No, winger from.
You don't know what
Community,
lyric
come
that
on.
is, do you?
No, I don't. I only watch
Korn
Community.
featuring Fred Durst, All in the Family. It's all in the family.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever want to hear an awful song that is by Korn, it's called All in the Family. It actually features the lyrics, I will butt fuck you.
Samuel.
Shouts to them.
Shout out to Samuel. Samuel says that he's pretty sure Trap just wants to troll everyone. Hey, I'd believe that if they were funny.
Accurate.
Not accurate. They're not even
No.
funny. You got to be funny to be a troll. You have to earn the troll status.
They're not
everybody's
good
a
at trolling,
troll.
but
Not
they are
everybody's a
trying
troll.
to troll. They're trolling
Exactly.
for
They
likes
don't-
and clicks and album buys, and it obviously failed.
They don't deserve the troll
Amber
branding.
Malmstrom said Chris took on Warped updates and said they sold 4,600. Even if you, on a band like Trap selling 4,600 copies is pathetic. I mean, like, all the bands they just beefed with blew those numbers out the water the first week. And if you're not sure about album sales or how they work out, the first week means everything. Because the first week is the biggest.
The shitty band that I kicked Matt out of twice sold over 1,000 copies our first month. I guarantee you Trap doesn't break over 6,000 probably this first month, I'd say, unless people just rile this up and they
I got
go out
replaced by a high schooler.
and pump a dump into him, right? Let's be real. Trapped only being able to fucking, my shitty ass high school band getting 1/3 of Trap sales. Fucking come on now. Trapped is dead in the water. And they think it's edgy and cool to be like contrarian and come at you with like these sideways controversial
It's not cool to
statements.
be a dickhead.
Like the George Floyd comment. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, bro. You're fucking 45 years old, suck a nut. Like, go dye your goatee again, take off the fucking bracelets, and go fucking raise, I don't know, a fucking farm, because kids in your possession is also a very fragile topic that I don't think is
At least a
necessary.
sim farm.
Fuck, man. I know. Get off Facebook. Maybe stop running your virtual farm on Facebook, you fucking douche. Can
It's
I say
just funny to
douche?
me because
Can we say douche? No? Sorry,
yeah,
man. We might get
I don't
fined.
think douche is racist or sexist. That's
Producer said no. No.
Oh.
They said no.
Oh, well, muck luck.
Producer also says that we don't have anybody in the waiting room.
We really don't. Still waiting on Brian Wille. Hopefully he shows up and his internet is not as shitty as we heard it earlier. The thing about Trap selling either 600 or 4,600 copies is that either one of those numbers, let's just go ahead and give them some extra credit. If a band like Trap sold 10,000 copies in the first week, it would be deemed a failure, not just because of the personal vendettas that they set out in order to get publicity to sell said album, meaning that all failed.
Did you find
But-
out their label for the most recent album or no?
Dude, I can't.
I got you.
confused.
I
Oh, you
got
know what?
Here.
I know how to
I got the
figure it out.
connections. I got the
It's
connections right
iTunes.
now. I'm already
That's
telling you.
another thing too. When you go on iTunes and look at the new releases, it's not listed, and that made me
Crash
feel really
Collide.
good.
Crash Collide.
Okay, so that's a fucking bullshit ass label.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, I'm about to look up Crash Collide.
No,
What
you
the
entertain. You entertain. This is your show. You entertain. I'm gonna fucking look
If
up what
you
Crash Collide
sold
is.
a band at Trap's level that used to be mainstream, that had a top Billboard charting song, was featured in countless movies and fucking wrestling pay-per-views, to go out and sell less than 10,000 copies your first week, what that means is that all the promotion that you tried failed, and that you didn't make any money off this album. You're in the hole because you paid for that album. You've paid for it. You have not got the proper sales to recoup your losses for the recording studio and all the other bullshit, and you're fucked. You're
I'm
done.
pretty sure it's just a Trapped label because its most recent releases based off of Discogs.com, which is, I mean, pretty reliable as far as just basic information. Its last 6 releases were the Acoustic Collection by Trapped in 2014, the Acoustic Collection by
Who the hell
Trapped in
wants to hear
2013, Shadow Work by Trapped 2020, DNA, the album by Trapped 2016.
Headstrong, take on anyone. That would be an awful acoustic album. Can you fucking imagine that?
Apparently, Lisa Marie Presley's son committed suicide.
Yeah, he did. I thought you were gonna say he was signed there, and I was gonna say, well, he's dead. So.
Also signed to Crash Collide Records.
Is he?
No, I don't even know if he did music, bro. My mom is getting to me apparently late. Thanks, Mom, for the late breaking news.
Yeah,
Literally.
thanks for the updates, Brian's mom, who also beefs with me on Facebook and thinks I'm serious when I sarcastically insult her son.
Coming
damn it.
in,
It's the
coming
last
in.
thing
Mama Bear's coming in, son. Ruffle them feathers. Let's go.
It's the last thing I
Charge
want
him.
is to beef with your fucking mom.
She's gonna ban that ass, son. She's gonna ban you hard, dude. Ban you real hard.
The last news I got, and I'm hoping to God Brian Wille appears any minute now.
I got a couple of
co-founder.
things. I got a couple
No,
of sidebar.
No, we're
news
not
things.
talking fucking Thrice album reviews from 1999. Lollapalooza co-founder says live concerts are not going to return until 2022. How depressing is that? Wear a damn mask. And what makes a Lollapalooza co-founder an authority on this? Because I don't go to Lollapalooza. I've never worked with a band that goes to Lollapalooza. I could barely spell Lollapalooza.
I can tell you that I spell it wrong constantly, and I can also tell you that the last time it was relevant was in 1991, its first year. Let me tell you this: nobody cares about what the Lollapalooza. At least I don't, because I've listened to several artists and management heads, and I mean, we're in the fucking industry. We're getting this shit firsthand from a lot of people. Like, everybody's already told us summer, fall 2021 at the earliest for like decent modified venue capacity. So that means that like you're probably going to get 75% capacity. You're probably going to get, you know, these ticket shortages. Like bands are resorting. Okay, so if you follow the scene, you probably are well aware who Under Oath is. Under Oath is doing a weekend show 3 weeks in a row. Each night is a different album, an entire playthrough. They're doing it at the Observatory, and it's going to be streamed live. And you get a record, you get a t-shirt, you get a bunch of different shit if you buy different ticket packages, and you get access to the live streamed event. Bands are already thinking outside of the box to accommodate for this. 2022 is a dramatic statement you're doing for clickbait because you're the managing manager for fucking Lollapalooza. Get the fuck out of here. People only care about Coachella. Honestly, like people
if
are
you're
pissed
not
out
Ultra
about
or Coachella or Warped Tour,
EDC.
you can suck a
like,
butt.
I mean, Lollapalooza, you have some pull if you're bringing like fucking the Stones. I mean, the Stones only tour once every 5 years. Good luck
Frank
if you are
Zappa.
bringing. Yeah, maybe if you're bringing like a Linkin Park reunion, maybe like if you're bringing some crazy shit out of the
Hologram
gate,
Chester.
maybe. But you already have Leeds. You already have, you know, these festivals
Leeds,
that are built
Reading,
around bands.
Download.
Yeah, you already have these festivals that are oftentimes
Whackin'.
built around these like illustrious performances from bands that you're trying to pull together all in a weekend that are going to get crammed into like 30-40 minute sets. It's going to be fucking weird. I mean, again, if it's not Coachella, people don't care about it. Unfortunately, controversial opinion, maybe. We might have a lot of fish heads out here that are just like telling me to shove rocks in my ass and go listen to Rush. Hey, I've seen Rush, and yes, in the exact same night. Fuck with your boy, okay? Okay.
Oh, you're not gonna like this.
Oh no. Break my heart
We will
again.
reschedule, my man. He was having some technical difficulties.
Hey, it's okay. We're already 33 minutes in, man. We got this.
Yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah,
We're off to the
okay,
races
so-
at this point.
All right, so I didn't lie to you. We've been battling issues all day. This has been scheduled for the past 9 days, and there was a miscommunication on their end, and they had the wrong time, originally canceled, rescheduled, then said it was back on. So the truth is they're going to have to reschedule. I don't know if it'll be next Friday because we are trying to book multiple guests. I try to book 3 weeks in advance, so we'll see. Currents will not be on tonight. Sorry. It sucks. I'm fucking bummed. You should still listen to their album The Way It Ends. You should still follow them on social media, and you should still stream their album because they're dope as shit. The album's dope. Do you want to talk about the album for a minute since we
definitely can, man. I had some questions.
Since we have like 25 minutes to fill.
Hey, The Way It Ends,
Fuck.
beautiful album. You know, obviously, and we can sum this up in a nice little package. Brian Wille, the vocalist who was supposed to be on, again, the minute he jumped in, we were dealing with some connection problems, some sound issues. It's okay. It does happen.
Bad.
It does. Yeah, it wasn't even a sound. It was like he wasn't. There was a feedback. Yeah, not even an explanation. No explanation needed. Hey, The Way It Ends is a phenomenal album. I mean, we're gonna talk everything that Brian was involved with, right? Anything post 2016. We're getting fucking The Way It Ends. We are getting. Let me see. We're getting Life Lost was not, but that was their first critically acclaimed album. That's the one that kind of gave them their breakthrough, right? And then they get into this phase where they sign Brian to the band and they go through a couple different member changes and they fucking take off. The Place I Feel the Safest was the first full length that actually came out with him on it. And I mean, that's where their rise really starts. I mean, their tour that ended on March 15th was with Silent Planet, Invent Animate, and I want to say Era. That's a fucking phenomenal
God, that's
lineup.
a killer lineup for that style. God.
Before that, they played with Greyhaven and fucking somebody else that's fucking up there. Fit for a King and Wage War. I mean, there are some other shit. They're on these tours that are just bringing in ridiculous bands, ridiculous pull, and they're from New England, so they have this sound where, you know, you're a standard that you have to play to and you have to set to, and they're breaking that barrier, and they're, I mean, I'm bummed, but at the same time, like, I think that this is a great guest, and, you know, we have a lot to talk about. And if you're a band or someone that's interested in this music and in this scene, you know exactly who Currents is, and you know just what kind of rise I think they're on. And I'm excited to have them on, and I'm excited to hear what they come out with in the future, man. Again, I'm excited for this next era of bands and music that we're going to have to go into And you see bands being more engaging on their Instagrams and being more engaging with their fans because that's the only way that they're able to communicate and a lot of times make revenue right now. And they're doing that and they're on this cusp. I think of New England and I look back at Killswitch and I look back at, Unearth and all these other, New England bands that were on the cusp in the early 2000s. And I'm like reinvigorated with music because that's what these guys represent. I fucking love it. Fucking phenomenal.
Okay, so he's still trying, so there is still a little hope, even though we've lost 1,200 listeners.
It is on my short list for albums of the year, too.
Yeah, it's a really solid album. It's really hard to blend being heavy and having melodies at all. It's difficult. You're either one of those bands like Suicide Silence, where you're just all heavy, heavy, heavy. There's no melody, and, people eat that up because, oh, it's so brutal. But it is, I personally think it's really difficult to try to make a heavy album and then include melody. They blend it very well. The production is on fire. The album was mastered by Chris Crummett, so it doesn't surprise me that it sounds amazing. The album art is cool. It was done by Levi Benton, who is the vocalist for Miss May I.
They toured with Miss May I in Europe.
Please work. Fingers crossed.
Almost. We're trying. Hang on.
You sound good.
You're in. Different angle, got that router by that window, got that shit pumping in.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
We were just busy kissing your ass, actually.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
I hear you great.
That's great. Let me try to get this going on the headphones.
God, I feel so bad.
I had to rebuild my entire setup here.
I feel bad as I shared the oldest picture of you and you look completely different now.
Yeah, right?
My bad.
An old photo.
My bad. I searched several times. It kept popping up as like the first one. I was like, oh, this must be current.
Yeah. Must be current, yeah.
But I'm punch.
There we go. But you guys hear me okay now, though?
Yes, yeah, you sound amazing, dude. Like night and day difference.
There we go. Yeah. So
I'm super stoked, bro. Super stoked. We were just talking about how we really like the way it ends and how difficult it is for bands to blend that heavy sound with having any sort of melodic elements, and you guys nailed that on the new album.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Like it's crazy. Like, I'm not a fan personally of if your band's labeled melodic metalcore, it kind of puts like a preconceived notion in your head. I think of bands like didn't Bury Tomorrow just release an album like last week? They're kind of one of those bands. It's like melodic. It's a difficult sound to pull off, and at least especially for 2020, like Currents, number one, they nailed that shit.
That's funny you mentioned that. I love Bury Tomorrow. I think they're awesome.
No, they're a cool band. It's that most of the bands that label like, especially like if you were to, God forbid, be a local band and label yourself melodic metalcore, I'm gonna dip my expectations a little lower.
Hard to pull off, yeah. There's not a lot of bands like up and coming that can, like it's always worth it to look and see what there is out there. But yeah, it's definitely a hard thing to pull off if it's not done right, and it's really evident when it's not done right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I kept hearing a lot of complaints about Bury Tomorrow that a lot of people on Twitter kept saying, "Oh, the vocals are weird," and I was like, I don't know what you mean by weird, but I seeing so many people say that was kind of odd. And then I talked with people on Twitter about like, hey, we're having Currents on the show. What would you want to know from them? The most requested question I got was, what made you guys sing?
I don't know. I feel like it was always something that the band had going on. It was always something that Chris wanted in the band. It was always something the original members wanted in the band. Like from Victimized on, there was always like clean singing of some kind, and I think they wanted to like further that, and they wanted to do more with it. And by the time I came on board, that was just where their heads were at. And I had not really sung too much before being in Currents, and it was never something I did in any of my bands. So it was kind of just something that they were looking to do, and it was like, I'm willing to grow and learn because I want to be in this band. This band is awesome. Like
definitely. You never sang before that? That's got to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's still to this day it's a new thing for me because I'm just used to being a screamer, and but I've always liked singing. I've always wanted to sing, you know.
To
It sounds good. I dig it.
to piggyback off, yeah, and actually it's unique to, I think, the metalcore style. It's so much, and man, I was literally going down like a early 2000s metalcore rabbit hole before you jumped in, and like the New England scene. And you know, as a fucking purist, and like you had Killswitch back in the day, you had your bands that did incorporate this clean singing, right? And like, hey man, you have your Jesse and you have your Howard fans, you have your fans, you know, and like you see those arguments nowadays with like Invent Animate switching vocalists, you guys switching vocalists. You see this argument of like, hey, is the vocalist gonna match up? Being in metalcore, it's very important to not, for lack of better words, sound weird. Like, you know, and you have your staples, right? When you had your Devil Wears Prada and your bands in like the mid 2000s, it was like that whiny, clean vocal with like the real deep. Now you have more of like almost a new metal clean singing sound that a lot of bands try to
New metal's
incorporate.
accurate.
Yeah, and like it's real hard to make that blend, and you guys do it phenomenally well. You know, especially on the new album. And I think even when you guys do have your songs, you know, I Let the Devil In is hands down one of my favorite EPs of all time, or short, whatever you want to call them. And you know, the tracks where you don't have the clean singing, I think there's only one or two on there anyways, it's completely, you don't isolate it in any different way, right? You don't have those songs that expect the clean singing, and you guys, especially on the new album, nail that blend like fucking perfectly.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Is that a question?
No, it was just me kissing ass. Here is the question: being from the New England metalcore scene, what were you guys listening to coming up, and what influenced? Like, I know that you joined the band a little bit after the fact, but what was it that got you propelled into the scene, and then eventually on board with like Currents?
It's funny, just like a lot of older metalcore, like, well, not older metalcore, but I guess it depends how old you are, what you determine older metalcore to be, right? But like,
Right.
I don't know. When I was growing up, I found like a lot of these like East Coast bands that I didn't even know were East Coast at the time. But when I was coming up, the stuff that I was kind of gravitating towards was like that 07, 08 like Christian metalcore. That was
Okay.
kind of
A graceful.
What?
Kind
What?
of like Case the Day.
Yep.
Like
Burden of a
Still
Day.
Remains.
Yep. Oh, Still Remains. Hey, Still Remains. Comeback
He
album.
just mentioned a bunch of good Christian bands, and you bring up a Graceful? What's wrong with
They're
you?
like your staple 2008
Oh
band.
god, no! Haste the Day was sick as shit, though.
Fuck
dude.
yeah, they were.
They were
man,
way
yeah.
too heavy to be Christian.
Yeah. Oh, what?
There
Wow.
wasn't a lot of heavy Christian bands at the time, bro.
Man, I don't know. Haste the Day though. Yeah,
Well,
bravo.
there was Impending Doom around the same time, maybe a little later, like Nailed Dead Risen.
Yeah.
So,
Accurate. There's Impending Doom. There was like the Famine. I think they broke up after like one album, but there was only like what, 5 or a handful of bands that considered themselves Christian deathcore. But all those bands from the late 2000s that were on Solid State, oh my god, that was epic. Yeah, Haste the Day, the Oh Sleepers, the As Cities Burn, all those bands were sick as shit.
like I was saying before, like, and then again, also like a little further on, like I found like Roadrunner Records and stuff, and I found a lot of bands that were like New England bands that I didn't even know were. So there was like Killswitch Engage. There was like Unearthed was another one. Like the Acacia Strain, like a lot of just, I don't know, like that was kind of the stuff that I was like coming up on. Amir too, like early Amir was stuff that I was
Love
kind of
Amir.
into, like the metal, like the metalcore kind of deathcore in between, you know.
I know Brian's waiting for the name Vanna. Did you ever listen to Vanna?
Oh, I didn't even do.
Maybe
They're
not
East Coast.
too much.
They
I-
were hard. They got real hardcore for a
They
bit.
kind of switched up because they had a big like member change and shit. So
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
like different eras. Like the people I meet now that like Vanna, they didn't even know that Vanna was on Epitaph beforehand. So it's crazy to me.
I mean, man, you come in
eras for sure.
that East Coast scene, especially the New England scene. It has some crazy roots, and for you guys, I think you really are like the revamping of that genre, at least, you know, up in that area. And I think just bravo with what you guys are doing as far as how you're representing it. I did have a quick question. So you were part of the lineup that played the final New England Metal Fest. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, and it
How-
was this thing where nobody knew.
Dude, it came up last minute.
Was it the last one?
Well, I think it was the last one that they did the 2 days and
I
made it like a
hope not,
thing.
because that's a big deal of a festival.
Right. Well, they decided to kind of not permanently stop doing it, but just a little like the people who were booking that festival, like our manager actually, Scott Lee, had a huge hand in like booking that festival for years and years and years and years. Like that was like his thing.
Right.
And you know, like once he moved kind of more toward management, that kind of torch got passed on. But then it was like, you know, it just became different at that point. And it was,
That's me speaking out of turn for sure, because it hasn't officially been canceled. But you know, you do. Yeah, I knew that a lot of booking stuff had changed, and I knew that they weren't. You know, they didn't repeat
Don't be
it in
spreading fake news,
2017
bro.
or 18. I know that they were rumored to try to bring it back this year or 19, I think, for like a short time, and then obviously nothing's
There
planned.
was a New England Metal Fest showcase at South by Southwest in
Correct.
Austin, Texas one year. It was a great show, wonderful. I think it was headlined by like Veil of
Yes.
Maya and Comeback Kid.
that's
fucking
it.
fucking weird though that it's New England Metal Fest in Texas.
Right, but like, isn't that so cool though? Because it's like
Yes.
Because it's its own.
place, and then
'Cause I've
people
heard of it
realize,
for
oh,
years.
That band's from this place. That's sick. And then you go look it up, and there's like all this crazy history of like badass metal bands from.
And I've never got to attend that festival because I'm not in New England like ever for that festival. So
Yeah, we don't even have to be part of New England. They'll get people from like, you know, like say it'll be a tour where, you know, there's like a few tours happening all at once, and they'll like kind of combine those tours, and you know.
I love their lineups. They always did a really like, I wouldn't say it's like diverse necessarily because you're just getting metal and hardcore bands, but man, they always stacked the lineup with the heavy of the heavy. Like
Yeah.
when I saw them, it was all like Zabalba and In the Wind and a bunch of really like heavy shit. I dug it.
I saw Nails at Metal Hardcore, and it was so sick.
Yeah. They have old school hardcore bands too. They got Hoods. They bring in some
Oh, Hoods!
hardcore bands,
Dude,
dude. Like they rep the hardcore scene for sure. I mean, you kind of have to because that's new. The whole East Coast, you know, obviously. But then you mentioned Comeback Kid. You know, you forget you do get a lot of the East Coast Canada. You know, the Toronto bands, the bands
Oh,
that
I
come over
forgot
from
they're
that side of
Canada.
Canada, and they play all the New York, the New England areas. Yeah, you're getting that shit
Yeah.
too.
Comeback
which-
Kid is like the most
this
hardcore
is hell.
of hardcore.
Yeah, dude. Like, oh man, fuck,
Yeah.
son.
They and also I think played one of the last ones too.
Were you
Dang.
about to tell a story about Hoods?
Oh, not really. It was like so we like played a show. I think it was in Texas, and Hoods was also playing. They were playing like the downstairs, like this other room in the venue.
Dope.
We had never really met any of those guys like at all. Like just paths never crossed because it's like, you know, not like a scene I'm really like part of, you know.
Right.
And so like you know, like I've been to hardcore shows and stuff, but like I'm not normally like
Not a
going
Gorilla Biscuits fan.
like they were playing downstairs in like this other room, and they were in the green room next to us, and I think we were kind of like sharing it or whatever, and then somehow we got to talking, and they're like, oh, I'm in, like the guitarist is like, oh, I'm in Hoods, and I was like, oh, what, and he's like, yeah, we're playing downstairs, and I was like, oh, when is your set? And it's like 9, like it was like, I'm afraid it was like 11:30 or like what, but we ended up going down there and hanging out for the show.
My little brother actually died in a Hoods pit, so shouts to him, R.I.P.
Damn. Respect, bro.
It was at a skating rink in Hemet. Horrible tragedy.
I'm kidding. But that's like when I didn't know who Hoods was. I
shit.
just heard all these stories. Like you don't want to go to that. You're gonna get beat up. Okay, well I'll stay home with my
It's-
4-year strong T-shirt.
It's so weird because I don't like I haven't like gone into anything. I literally know absolutely nothing about them except that we played the same show one time.
That
I
is
feel
so
the
crazy.
I feel the
That is so
same way,
crazy,
but
though.
like their reputation precedes them. So like kind of everyone filled me in. Like, oh dude, you're gonna get fucked up. Speaking
Like
on that-
Tyrant, like ex-Tyrant X.
Oh my god, yeah, valid point. Can you recall like a time when you saw like a really gnarly pit?
Ooh,
Favorite pit of all time.
probably. I mean, it depends. It's been a little while. Knock Loose played this. It was ABR's Christmas show.
Yes, the Christmas Burns Red. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, we played that. That was a crazy.
It's like a festival this last year,
I
wasn't
would
it? It was
love to
2
go to
days
that.
you guys played, wasn't it? It was some crazy. They had wrestling. They had a bunch of shit set up. It was
I remember if
intense.
they had- I didn't see the wrestling.
Oh, okay. Well, I
saw
think they had wrestlers or something.
Free party or something like the night before, but we all kind of drove up and we drove up that night, so we didn't do anything like the night before. And I know they had like some parties and stuff that they were doing. Like they had like a beer that they brewed with. There was like a lab, and they had like a couple like hangouts to like premiere the beer, which is actually pretty sick.
Yeah. Oh, it's a whole little fest for Every Time I Die. It's
Bands
cool.
having their own beer.
Or I mean, August
dope
Burns
as
Red.
fuck.
Yeah, Every Time I Die does the same thing, and they do one up in like I think it's on Every Time I Die Day up in Buffalo, and they fucking just have 2 days where they do a whole festival.
Why do I not know about this holiday, and why is it not national?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
it's like a big festival they do in Buffalo. And, like I know like mad people that will literally drive up to Buffalo. It's like 4.5, 5 hours.
Yeah.
They'll go.
And they do like albums of, they'll do an album a night or some shit for 3 nights in a row, and you get this whole little like immersion of an experience of like, Every Time I Die, August Burns Red, the bigger bands. Being a part of that's gotta be cool.
I think they call it Tids the season, like E-Tid, so Tids the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Buffalo's the gloomiest city I've ever fucking been in, but they have such good musical acts from there, like Every Time I Die and West Side Gun. Like, it's insane.
It's a cool scene out there. They got mad bars and stuff too. They'll stay up until like 4 a.m.
I think when you live somewhere where it's like a lot colder, it makes you angrier. It makes the metal better.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I assume you guys are so heavy because of the high taxes in Connecticut.
Yeah, man, it's brutal out here.
Angry. Hey, so you were mentioning the mosh pit. We didn't mean to cut you off on festivals, but what was the?
No, it was basically just that. It was the last crazy one I'd seen in a while. Because we don't normally play with like we play with heavy bands, but we're not playing with like. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I can't even say that because like I've seen some nasty. We toured with Left Behind. They had some crazy pits. Who like on. Some of our headliner ones were kind of crazy, but then the most recent crazy one was probably that Knock Loose festival show. That was nuts.
That's somehow not surprising to me at all.
Yeah,
there were just so many people, and the pit was just so big that it was just chaos, like total chaos the whole time.
What's the most random band you guys have played with? You mentioned playing with some different
I think
styles.
Hoods is pretty random. That's like what are the odds we end up like in Texas, right? But
that's true. Yeah.
We haven't played with a lot of like oddball bands. We did this weird this festival that was actually it was in Albany. It was called Rock and Derby, and
oh no.
Megadeth was the headliner.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Kid you not. I don't have it in this room with me right now, but Megadeth was the headline or one of the headliners the day before Coheed played, The Day to Remember played.
Oh shit!
What the fuck line? Okay, Megadeth, Coheed, A Day to Remember. What a lineup!
Yeah, I think it was like Lamb of God. Enter Shikari played right after us in a barn to maybe like 45 people. It was so strange.
God, why couldn't I be there?
Beartooth played. Born of Osiris played. This is just the bands that I can think of.
Yeah, dope. This
is all in a barn?
A festival where they were just like, hey, here's who we know. Let's bring them in.
We played in the barn, but there was like a big, there was like 3 stages. It was set up like a Warped Tour, basically.
I want to mosh in the barn.
Dude, the barn was pretty sweet. It was, I would do it again. It was pretty awesome.
Every band you just mentioned would have been like me nutting in the crowd. Like Inner Shikari, y'all, Born of Osiris. Yeah, fuck yeah, that's a sick.
It was steep though. It was a drive, and it was kind of far from like any other society. It was like just a lot of farmland. So I feel like it was kind of lost on like a lot of the people that went. You know,
too far from civilization.
It's a fucking Woodstock all over. People are parking a mile away, walking, hitchhiking.
Right. I think people. I don't know, for whatever, just lower.
Hey, remember the place with the barn? Let's not book that again. It wasn't the...
I don't think they did another one after that, but whoever booked it, like, did a
way to go.
job. Like,
bravo.
Yeah. That's a sick lineup.
So I got to play with a show, and then Megadeth was playing literally probably like 150 feet away from us. Like,
fuck yes.
Like, loading off the stage.
Fuck, that's so great.
I've only seen Megadeth once. They were fucking epic. I'm super glad you were able to connect and sound good because we were worried for a minute. Now that we have you here and we are blessed with a vocalist, we don't often get a ton of vocalists. What are your lyrics on this new album, The Way It Ends, about? Like, what subject matter do you dabble in?
We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk a lot about losing kind of your identity a little bit. We talk about trying to find yourself. We talk about trying to discover new things and make your stamp in the world while also kind of dealing with your own issues and stuff. That's kind of the stuff that we're talking about on this one.
I love the song Monster, and I feel like the lyrics mean something like way bigger than what I could like ever come up with. What is that song about?
It's more about just not like accepting responsibility when you need to for when things aren't working out the right way, but also, it takes two to tango, right? Like it's just a song about disagreements and trying to like maintain your own sanity while you're in a situation that's not exactly sane.
I dig it. I like that song. Did you name the album?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because I had a feeling, because a lot of times vocalists have a big say in that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
what does it mean, The Way It Ends?
So it's a lyric from the last song off of I Let the Devil In called Forever Marked, and it's kind of like a piece of the chorus, but it's also the last phrase that is said on that release. And so I thought it would be kind of cool to have it be the center of everything on this album, and just for some reason the title just made so much sense to me, and that was the one. We had a list of a bunch of other potential song like album names that I really couldn't even remember because none of them felt as right.
I dig it because I see on your Twitter it says like something like the end is near, and I'm like, oh man, the promo leading up to this album dropping is dope.
It just felt like a glove, man.
What's your personally your favorite song on the album, the one that you felt most connected to, whether it be through the writing process, playing it?
I probably feel the most connected to Split, just because I feel like it's my favorite track. I think it has the best kind of flow of all the tracks vocally, and I think just having it be like a kind of a more like groovy, like laid back sort of song is a little different for us because they're usually very technical, and the song is still technical. Like there's still some like tricky pieces in there, but
Right.
It's kind of an exercise of restraint, which I think is really cool for Chris. It's a different look.
I noticed that kind of all throughout the album. You guys saved like the real intricate melodies and the real intricate structures to the songs for like impactful parts, right? They're not just kind of dripped into every song, kind of like how you had on I know Life Lost is like a different era a little bit, right? But you kind of saw that a little bit in there, and then you definitely see it in the place I feel the safest. I felt that you guys reserved it for certain parts that were meant to be impactful, right? Like either during breakdowns sometimes, during lead-ups to breakdowns. Was that intentional, you think, during Chris's writing process, or do you think that was something that kind of just manifested while you guys were structuring the songs together?
Yeah, a lot of it comes to like instrumentation, right? Like however Chris lays a song out, like a part will lend itself more to vocals or like a certain idea than others would. But I feel like a lot of like how everything lines up is more in the track listing. Like
Okay.
I think a lot of it is we ended up having more of the like emotionally heavy songs towards the end and towards kind of the middle. So we have like Let Me Leave and we have Kill the Eight right there, like towards the beginning of the record. It kind of breaks up a lot of like the more single oriented tracks.
Right.
Some of the more like confident, like aggressive songs. And then you come back into like Origin, Second Skin. And then now we're at Split and How I Fall Apart, where things start to kind of get dark again. We take another dive, and then you have Better Days. I just think a lot of like the impact came with like setting the album up in a particular way, you know.
That's interesting because as your singles came out, I enjoyed them, you know, obviously as they came out, right? But when the album first came out, you know, the albums that I'm anticipating, I have my little playthrough rituals that I'll do, and you know, they were my favorites for like the first day or two. Better Days is my favorite track right now, and it's probably been my favorite for, you know, whatever, the last good chunk of time. And you know, you mentioned that, and that's what stood out to me about that song is the melody that he plays right before your first like intro to the chorus. And you're right. I think that, you know, now that you say that, it makes sense because I picked that up too. I picked up that the first couple songs were meant to be almost like a build up maybe, or I sensed them as like you guys really let loose for whatever reason around like track 4, you know, and like, yeah,
gotta
that's how it stuck out.
Gotta save the real emotional heaters for the
Dude,
record.
you know. And I thought when we first got the singles, to be honest, I thought like Poverty of Self, you know, I thought that was going to be like and Monsters too. I thought those were both going to be like, okay, we're going to get some heavy shit. And then you get into like Second Skin and like some of your other bangers and you're just like, dang, okay.
I think Monster might be my favorite song just because I think it applies to kind of like right now. And like how you said, like, we are becoming the monsters. It's like everyone who doesn't want to wear a mask during this pandemic is kind of the monster. It's something
Everybody,
that shit
dude.
hit home for me.
Everybody.
Yeah, I feel like that's, you know, it's funny because I work in a restaurant when I'm not doing band stuff, and that's kind of that's a totally real thing that's going on. Like,
Oh, preach, dude.
I got
Retail.
gloves on, I got a freaking mask, I got all that good stuff, and we're like, you know, we're holding it down though. We're like, nope. Like, if you don't have a mask, you're literally not coming into our restaurant.
Oh, man.
You do.
Oh, but the mask doesn't do anything. Blah, blah, blah.
Hey, man, I was breaking this down. The other day for another podcast I do. We're policing each other, which is super weird. Like, it's weird. We've never had to be like, no, sir, you can't come in. You need a mask. Like, it's so weird that they've got us doing this
Wear
shit.
the goddamn
Fucking
mask.
put it on, dude. Hey, I work retail, so I understand the hellish life, man. I gotta fight people off every day. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Ah, shit.
I was at ASM for a little while. That was fun, and then now I'm kind of moved to food service. I didn't really want to do the retail thing so much.
Oh,
but
man.
sometimes.
It takes a breed, brother. But hey,
The
man.
further
you know,
you get away from like having to deal with the general public, the better.
yeah.
Obviously,
bro.
I would
Hey.
much rather be doing stuff like this. You know, I'd rather be like, I'm trying to build a stream setup, like aside from terrible internet and all that, like trying to make it happen because I would much rather be like doing things oriented to band than you know, continuing to work.
Hey, that's dedication though, man, to be able to balance that and be in a successful band like Currents. Like, hey, man, that's no easy feat, and a lot of people don't make it because they can't juggle that lifestyle. So props.
We didn't. Our band didn't.
You got kicked out.
Fuck you. Thanks, bro. Yeah, fun fact, Brian kicked me out of his band twice. Ryan with a Y, not the I.
Twice.
Been there, bro, for sure.
Such a
I know, right? You fucking when you gotta kick someone out. Just kidding.
Yeah, I've never had to pull the trigger. I've never had to be that guy, you know. But
Oh, Brian was
No,
that guy.
man. No, man. You're the face of the band. You get all the, you know, nobody places blame on you. You get the easy. Just go and sing. You're good. We'll handle everything. Leave it to the guitarist and the drummer. They got it all.
I had yeah, you have the band to scream. Because I've been in so many bands since like before Currents. I was in like 5 or 6, like just dogging through the local scene, you know.
Were you in multiple bands at the same time? Because I know a lot of local vocalists try to do that shit to see like,
No.
well, maybe this one will pop.
It never seemed to make sense to me. I wanted to like focus on the project I was in, you know. Like
Gotcha.
even the idea of side projects and stuff, it doesn't really like. I was like, oh, that would be cool, but like I could also take that time and just put it into the band, and then now, you know, like. But I see why people would do it, and if you can balance it, and that's how your creative mind works, you know, then like for sure go for it. That's just not my vibe, really.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any bands in the scene right now that are like on the come up we should pay attention to? We always like getting the up and up on new bands before everybody else. So who from the New
Yeah.
England scene is making some ruckus?
I wouldn't say the New England scene. Well, there's one that everybody should know about called "If I Were You."
Oh, what's up, son? We covered that. We covered that. And Matt was like, I don't even want to really know this. Who are they signed to? They're only signed to themselves. And I was like, bro, it's the best shit. It's the best release, and they were signed a bit ago. Shut the fuck up. Just listen to it.
How did he just mention them?
My album of the week, Brian. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Hey, proof's in the pudding, baby. Proof's in the pudding. Oh, son.
They are. So a funny story about them. Their drummer Randy is a producer, right? And he is. He's done every local band under the freaking sun in this area, like Hudson Valley, like the Hartford County, Fairfield County, like all these, like everywhere from like. He's done everybody. He's done every band that I've ever been in, pre-Currents, and did some Current stuff while I was in the band. And his band, that's his band with his buddies, and he's been doing it literally forever. And it's always so good. But they don't really tour or anything. They're all busy. They're all like full time, like they all work, But
that's why this release was a big deal, because people were waiting for it. People were expecting it, and it did not disappoint, man. I wasn't expecting that heavy. I was blown away.
They're one of those like if you know bands,
Yep.
They're nasty. And then Hollow Front has been making some moves too. I've been seeing that.
I've heard that name, but I don't know their music.
They've
been around for a minute, no? I feel like Hollow Front's been around for a good sec, and like
for a minute, definitely. Like it's been a while.
I'm gonna actually look that up. I could have swore I saw them back in like 2009, but I might be wrong.
I don't know if it's been that long, but
I could be wrong.
I wasn't just being a dick at like, oh, they're not signed, I don't care about them, but I thought it was interesting, like, oh, they're not signed. And when I text Brian, I said like,
because you're like, what is
He wasn't that bad. I was exaggerating.
No, I didn't think you were insulting them or dragging them or anything at all, because they are like, it's one of those things you're like, wow, so
I'm just a fangirl. I'm a fangirl about it, and they're so good, and like I was talking them up like crazy, so
they have a name that's easy to mistake with a bunch of other bands, so I was like, I don't know if I've heard them before.
Yeah, they are so sick though. So anybody who's like watching this or watches this, if I were you, sick band, go check them out.
Yes, dude.
If I were you. If you had to describe your vocal style to someone who hasn't heard you or heard Currents, how would you do that? Like, would you use another vocalist and say, oh, I'm this combined with this? Or I'm like rage mixed with psychosis? Like, how would you describe it?
I don't know. It's always funny to think about that, because I'm always talking to people who are like, oh, well, what's your band like? And it's like, I don't know, man. I scream, I sing, and like, I can't really think of anything to like compare it to. I'll be like, I mean, you think about like the area too. Like you could say like, well, do you like Kill Switch Engage? Do you like all their bands? Do you like like those bands? And if they don't know who Kill Switch Engage or like all their bands are, there's almost no way they're going to be able to like get what we do.
Right.
You're just trying to think of like bigger bands that are kind of like maybe like I Prevail, if they know about them.
I feel like I Prevail kind of like skyrocketed. Like they got like a lot of love in the metalcore scene. People know about them. They're kind of big.
Yeah. But their following is crazy, and they continue to be like a big band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I saw him in Phoenix in front of like 60 people in like 2014. And like I feel like they were still kind of early on there, and then like their album came out, their like mainstream one.
Dude, it was like a 2-year span of where they just
freaking nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and they like hit a sick tour like festival lineup too. They were on every festival. They were on like every big stop that was coming through. So, yeah. All right, I Prevail. Okay.
They're sweet. And I remember years ago, someone was like, oh, this band sold out the Webster Underground, which is a venue that we play here all the time. And I was like, no way. Like, who is it? Like, I've never heard of this band. And then I checked them out. I'm like, oh, wow, actually really sick. And then literally like a few months later, they were everywhere.
So I've heard a couple of these from you on the new album, and I wanted to know how you feel about them. How do you feel about Blaze, and should there be more in metal?
I don't know. I think the Blaze itself is like, it's too, it's too much like a few other people's thing to like really have me want to do them all the time. Like my take on that is mine's not like a bleh, it's more like a sort of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's
think
not
it was
much
a
of
blah.
throw up.
I didn't think it was a blah, to be honest.
It's an
You know, yeah, and you saying it
Like something like that. I
like
would
you're
thought-
fucking done. You know, I feel like
I love them.
if
I
I
love
have
them,
to-
dude. If you did a whole album of Blez, I'd love it.
blah, I'll accept. I'll accept a blah. King Blah in my mind is lead singer of
Sworn
Architects.
in.
No, lead
Sam-
singer of Architects is my favorite Blah.
Yeah, so that's Sam's thing for sure. But there's also Drew from Straight from the Path, and I would argue that he has done it like just as much.
Didn't
Like,
they also do Arf Arf? And I can't get with Arf Arf.
I don't think. Trey
Or was
does
that
Arf.
Stick to Your Guns? Who did Arf Arf? And that's where I draw the line. When you start making words up, Blah,
Arf is knocked loose.
knocked loose. Yeah, no. Blah is okay. Arf Arf, get the fuck out of here. Get
They
the fuck
are-
out of here.
They get a pass because they are the pioneers of the ARF. They are the ones that made it.
This
sick.
should be the only one ever.
That's fair.
It is sick in that song.
I love Stray from the Path. I love how they sound like Rage Against the Machine and shit. And I think the vocalist is dope. They haven't dropped a bad album that I've heard, but I have to be honest here. They have the weakest Blez I've ever heard because they're weird.
I have to disagree.
It's
That was
so
a bold
short and
disagreement.
strange. It's like, bleh.
No, dude. You ever listen to Rising Sun? Like that record?
Yeah, that's a good
Oh,
record. That's a
Rising
really
Sun
good
is
record.
amazing. Like, to be fair, I do want to agree with you. Like, the Rage influence, like, that wasn't really what I listened to in their band personally. I liked a lot of the,
Metalcore
like,
stuff.
I love the drums on, like, some of the segments of their early work, just because it was it was kind of a different sort of feel than what they have going on now, where it's a little more laid back. I like that. Like, and not to say they're like a laid back band, like their most recent singles are like definitely like super aggressive, and just something about those records at the time like really got me, and I thought they were like sweet. And I've always respected Stray for like their like, you know, the very outspoken dudes, and I think that's awesome.
You can tell they're inspired by Rage, but they didn't like rip off Rage's style necessarily. I don't really get like a hip hop rap vibe from them, but I do get like a rowdy stand up for your political rights type of vibe from them, and that's gonna always like side with Rage Against the Machine. But they're dope. They're dope as shit. I like your Blez. I'm gonna say I like your Blez better than Straight from the Path. No hate to them.
No.
Are you from Connecticut?
He's hurt.
I am. I'm from Connecticut. I'm born and raised in Bethel.
Beautiful.
You a WWE fan?
Exactly where I was going.
So much, man. A little bit of I freaked with Raw for a little bit, you know.
You had to, because they were going up and down the streets in Connecticut for a minute for Greenwich and all that shit.
Dude,
Connecticut was on the map.
I had just no concept of anything. At the time I was probably like 7th, 8th grade. I didn't know if they were from Connecticut or care. I found out later, and I was like, oh, it's kind of weird, but okay.
Dude, they got to be like one of the biggest businesses in Connecticut.
ESPN too, no? ESPN
no,
is out there, I think.
They
yeah,
have,
Bristol.
They got some. Yeah, in Bristol, right next to Lake Compounds. Like literally the coolest amusement park ever.
Okay, amusement park shout out. All right. So
Wait,
we had
Connecticut has
Magic
an
Mountain.
amusement park? I had no idea.
We
Yeah,
had
we
Magic
got-
Mountain.
We got Quasi, which was like on the water for like kids, and then
Quasi.
yeah, I don't. There's like this lake there called Lake Quasipog, and
Oh.
places-
I was going to say, that sounds like a racial slur. That's weird.
No, does it really?
It's a word, Matt. It's just
Quasi.
a word. It's just a word.
Hey, it's
I don't know.
2020. I'm offended by everything.
I don't know, but then there's Lake Compounds, which is also on a lake, and that one's more oriented towards like families with like older kids and stuff. I mean, Lake Compounds is like a kiddie area, but Quasi's more like that's like the park everyone went to when they were like 5, 6. So,
You
like,
guys got a Six Flags?
Yeah, a little bit later in life, because farther. Well, because there's the Massachusetts one is like a couple hours north, and it's not
Yeah.
bad.
That's a good park, though.
Yeah.
It is Zorro. You got a few other things, but you go to Jersey, you go not much farther, and you get like King Ka, and you get El Toro, and you get another Bizarro, and like Superman, and all that shit. So, you
Theme
know.
park guy. Okay, all right, my guy with his theme parks.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, kidding me? Like,
Okay.
Yeah, we had Six Flags Magic Mountain in Southern California that we used to go to.
Timeout. Theme park guy. All right.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
change
the
the
theme
entire
park-
trajectory of this podcast.
He's the theme park guru.
What theme parks do you like? What roller coasters do you like? Where have you been? Spill it.
Oh man, so we haven't gotten to do too much. I know the ones around here. You know, I didn't get to travel too much to do the amusement park thing. I've done Lake Compounds. We've got Quasi, obviously. That's the Six Flags Massachusetts, Six Flags New Jersey. We did been to Disney like once, and then Universal.
Have you been to that theme park in Syracuse? I forget what it's called.
Definitely not.
Okay, so it used to be a Six Flags.
He's like, fuck Syracuse. Just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Park, there's Playland, there's like a bunch. I've only been to a few.
If you do the Warp Tour Syracuse date, which RAP Warp Tour, I hope you come back, they give you free admission to this former Six Flags park. It's a former Six Flags park because apparently a former veteran amputee fell out of a roller coaster and died, and they had to sell the license. Yeah, shitty, real shitty. Anyways, they give you free admission to this park, and they have like 2 roller coasters. It's like the shittiest park I've ever been to. So upstate New York does not know roller coasters.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Not everybody can be as roller coaster privileged as we are. I've done skydiving before too.
Whoa, fuck that.
How'd you like it? Did you like it? I want to do that. It's on my list.
I don't know if I'd ever do it again, but
I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
I think I'm gonna go again soon.
Okay.
How nerve-wracking is it before you jump out of that plane? Because I don't think I could do it.
It's like inconceivable. Like you literally look down and you're like, this looks like a little playground map. You know, like it looks
I'm
like
jumping out of a plane.
Or not even like those carpets that have like the little town.
Yeah,
You know?
I used to play on those.
That's what it looks like when you're up there, or maybe not even. It looks like you're literally looking at a map because it's just not real. Like cars are little, maybe like microscopic ants. It's nuts.
Dude, that's Jesus Christ.
That's bananas. And no, it's something I want to do, man. And I get that response a lot. Like, I don't know if I would do it again because I just want to. I think if there's one thing as a human being in 2020 you can experience that not a lot of other humans got to is falling to Earth.
Yeah.
Fucking high speeds.
I'm either never going to do it again, or I'm just going to start doing it like all the time.
Oh yeah, right. You're either in or you're out. Yeah.
Exactly. Gotta either do it or just
next year you're gonna be in a fucking squirrel suit. You're just gonna be going through mountains. You're gonna be fucking going. You're like fuck currents. I'm just gonna start fucking flying.
Can you imagine? Vocalist quits to be a professional wingman.
You fucking come in all gangster on a parachute and you just fucking land. You start fucking going in. You go into fucking no despair and you just fucking going.
I'm afraid of heights, so you will never catch me skydiving. I'll ride any kind of roller coaster on the planet, but the climb up is the scariest part for me. The rest of that shit is fine. So as we said, we love the new album, the way it ends. I've been telling people this entire podcast to go buy it, go stream it, go buy, especially buy your flags, because I think flags are cool as fuck for metalcore bands.
Yep.
Buy your merch. What is like your last words or your reason for people to go and buy or stream the new Currents album?
Well, the way I'm going to respond to that is you don't have to. You really don't. But if you want to, it's there. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. And if you're interested in checking out the band, go for it. If you like metalcore, definitely want to check it out. If you haven't heard of us and you're watching this, that's awesome. Appreciate you. But yeah, just go check us out. What are you doing? You sat here and listening to me talk for like 40 minutes, an hour? You never
Yeah, man.
Hey,
we got a lot
Valid point.
We got a lot of fans of yours in the chat. We also have a lot of new listeners. Where can they find you and the band's social medias, all that? If you want to shout that out real quick.
So we have we're currentsofficial.com. That is our that's our web address. That's where
website legit.
Yeah,
legit.
currentsofficial.com. And
Do you have an OnlyFans?
I don't have an OnlyFans
Yet.
Not yet. I there's logistics to work out, So.
Got a lot of copyright stuff you probably have to do.
Sending in the other actors. Yeah.
If I did, I don't know if I would want anyone to know about it, you know?
Hey man, it doesn't have to be all naughty shit. It can be
Alias
cool.
exists for a reason,
Dude,
bro.
wouldn't it be hilarious if there was an OnlyFans that had like 1 million followers, and then somebody puts the dots together? It's like, wait, is that fucking Brian from Currents? Like,
Hey, dude, I bet you could start an OnlyFans and just say that you're the vocalist of Currents, and people would fucking rage, bro. People would fucking do it. I guarantee it. I guarantee you could.
Honestly, I
They'd
feel
subscribe just to hear you say shit. You could fucking go on and be like, bananas have potassium, and they'd be like, yeah.
He's like, blah, here's me naked.
yeah, like, what if you found out that like a celebrity or like a musician or something had like a secret OnlyFans, you know?
A mask. They just wear a mask everywhere.
I want to start my own OnlyFans.
Well, what? Like, you know?
I want to start my own OnlyFans and interview bands naked.
Oh my god.
Imagine the connection issues then.
One of those long stem mics, though, and he holds it by his belly button the whole time, so it picks up the audio perfectly. Brian, we appreciate you for coming on, buddy. Thank you, man. We understand it was kind of crazy and kind of roller coaster, no pun intended, but it was a good one. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Currentsofficial.com. Any other social media?
I'm just Brian Wille on everything. It's
And then
free.
Currents across the board
Current
for Instagram.
CT
and all
on
that.
Twitter. I know that one.
Yeah, Currents CT on Facebook as well.
Just Currents for some reason, but Instagram is just Currents. So
And if you Google Currents Band, you're going to find all their shit, except you might find a picture of Brian when he was 19 and look like an idiot when you share it on Instagram. So don't do that.
That's literally me at 19. That's so funny.
Hey, bro, you still look great, so no worries there. How old are you now?
I'm 25.
Son of a bitch, man. I'm fucking up, dude. God damn it.
No, no.
Pretty much the same. My hair.
Oh, my God. Well, you look like an innocent 19-year-old. I'm sure you were a straight-A student.
Oh man. At a time, in another life.
All right, we won't keep you too long. I thank you so much for dealing with the connection issues and the miscommunications that coming on. Check out Brian Wille. Check out Currents. Check out all their social medias. Go stream them. Go buy the goddamn album. What are you doing, man? Do you not like bouncy metalcore?
Do it,
Like,
man.
for
Thank you
real,
again,
like-
brother.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. Episode 15 in the bag.
Later, Matt. You might have to bump him too.
Woohoo!
Boom.
That was good shit.
Where can they find you at, buddy? We're still live. What do you got going on? This was what I was going to say. In the moment, I'll do me, and then you do you, and you tell people what we have set up for next week, if we got anything in the books yet, and then you can go forward. You all can find me and my lovely face of Brian of Death. That's right, of Brian of Death on Twitter, of Brian of Death on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you already probably know Brian Kern on there. And for my podcast, commonchaos.net. Matt, God damn it, I got to get better at figuring out what side you're on. Because I'm backwards and in the mirror.
It's reversed.
I know, but I always
It's mirrored.
you're over there, so in reverse it's like, no.
Super Saiyan Fusion.
There we go. Maybe we just got to do that. I just got to watch you. Okay, go. Where can they find you at?
Okay, so first off, big thanks to Currents. Big thanks to Amy at Adam Splitter PR. Big thanks to Scott Lee. Big thanks to the fucking band for coming on, because we had to deal with a lot of miscommunications and connection issues to get him on.
He saved the show. He
really did, because I was about to ramble for like 40 minutes on
Oh,
like
we
what I
were.
just
We
watched
were.
on wrestling, and it was going to lose every viewer imaginable.
Yeah, we were.
You can find me at iHateTheScene on Instagram, TikTok. You can email me at the email you see right here at iHateTheScene. That's also my Twitter address. So make sure that you go and follow
let's get closer.
IH8, the number 8, TE, the scene. That shitty name you see right there, because some son of a bitch stole my name, bastard.
Fuck you, Matt Johnson.
It's not his fucking name.
It is.
Definitely go stream the Currents album, even if you're not listening to it. I don't care if you fucking like metalcore or not. Go stream the album while you're sleeping. Put it on mute, okay? Because these guys deserve your fucking stream numbers, okay? It's a good album. It's bouncy.
You can't just
What?
do Currents album either, because that brings up Tame Impala's album Currents. It's The Way It Ends by
The
Currents,
way
Currents
it
band,
ends,
Currents,
it's
Connecticut,
on Sharp
Currents.
Tones, so you know they're like a real big deal. So go listen to it. Yeah, I fucking love that album. I listened to it a little more today because I hadn't listened to it in a couple days, and it just hit me differently, man.
Your
Like,
favorite track? We talked about that while you were away for a second.
I think it's Monsters, man, because I've been arguing with a lot of COVID deniers and people that refuse to wear a mask, and I feel like the lyrics in Monster like kind of speak to that.
Emotional.
Yeah,
Emotional.
I did not get social media bans this week, but I did get blocked by several racists and several people who deny wearing masks. On a side note, Alabama, what the fuck is wrong with you? You only win college football championships and fuck your cousins and not wear masks? Come on, wear a mask, people. Arizona, I'm looking at you too. I don't care how hot it is. Wear that goddamn mask. Don't go into Walmart and not wear that mask. I swear to God.
Matt, 5 months ago. We don't want to talk about politics.
We're not talking about politics, Brian. We're talking
That's
about
what the mask
masks.
is. That's what it is.
Okay?
It's politics.
We're talking about mascaras. Okay? Mascaras. Do you know what that means? It means more masks.
Got your mask hanging.
If you want to email me, you can email me at iHateTheScene. You can send in suggestions for guest questions or complaints. I love complaints. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I am Matt Musselwhite. You can follow me on everything. I love everyone that pays attention to us. Currents, shouts to them. They were great. Last words.
I got nothing, man. No, on you, buddy. I had a great show. Thanks for doing this again on time. We'll catch you at the next Hate and Scene time, Hate and Scene hour, whatever. I don't know.
Same bad time, same bad channel. Facebook.com/iHateTheScene to watch us live. Don't know who the next guest will be. It might be a sweet ass band. It might be some TikToker with 500,000 followers. It might be a wrestler from Canada. Who the hell knows? But I guarantee you, it's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah, it might just be me and you talking shit about how you kicked me out of your shitty band twice.
Still gonna be dope.